He's right. When you have the support, it drives you. It takes the burden off your shoulders. Being in middle school was not the case. I was alone. I had the biggest anxiety attacks of all time. There was constant bullying. But being in my world kept me going. That was until I was bullied for that as well. Growing up and not being normal was a challenge. I wish my focus was believing in myself and not on the sinks. I wish I didn't care as much. I wish I realized it was just a temporary path. I wish I could have told myself, everything is going to be all right. I can't live in the past anymore. I have to accept it. And that it doesn't define me. I mean, it did take years to overcome it. Dr. Basel! I have something to share. I started journaling every day, and I've been writing down my moods and why I feel a certain way.
That's good. That's very good to hear. How do you feel about it?
Okay, well, at first I felt like a little silly. Like, am I really writing my mood down? Really? No, but actually, it helped. Just putting my thoughts on paper felt present. It was like I was taking my thoughts out of my head and tossing them. Oh, it was such a relief. I felt calmer than I ever did before.
It's important to never judge a thought.
Right. I noticed that the more that I was writing, I still had that little voice in my head that this was telling me that what I'm doing is wrong. I didn't pay too much attention to it, and I tried to keep going. Man, it's just so hard.
The more you overcome that wave, the calmer it gets. OCD is an urge that can lead to an action and a feeling. When going through a wave, the uncertainty may come as well as doubt. This doesn't mean it's true. The brain creates the safe zone and the doubts run by when there is a change in the routine. You mentioned you checked the sinks, the lights, and the car doors when you were in the 6th grade.
Yes, sir.
Did you find a balance?
Not until the end of 8th grade. I kept doing my urges, which, well, made me very angry, if I recall. If it wasn't in the right order. If I shut the light off, and I remember this very vaguely, if I shut the light off after the number 3, or before the number 3, my entire day was ruined. I couldn't go out of my room. I had to redo everything the next day. I had a lucky number, and my number kept everything balanced, which was the number 3. It had to be on 3, exactly the second on that 3. It can't be a second before, a second after, and if anyone touched when I was doing a routine, I was completely ballistic. I mean, this caused many very problems for me. My dad and I had too many conflicts because of it. I interrupted his routine with my overlapping of my lucky number. I think he had a lucky number as well, just not with the number 3. My mom couldn't be around me when I did this. I would try not to talk about my issues with it. I mean, my parents told me I had behavioral issues. where I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. I mean, technically, I did have behavioral issues. I mean, I was very influenced, and I was hanging out with people that treated others poorly. How do I explain this? I was too scared of being me. I was too scared of being on my own. I just wanted to be accepted. I wanted to live normally so I can expose myself See, that's what gets me. I don't know. It's hard to say this because I wanted to live normally. I never wanted to have OCD. I wanted to be this kind individual that I always thought of myself, which I wasn't. I regret that. It's this weird feeling. Like I wanted to be normal. But at the same time, I guess OCD was all I know. And I felt like if I was normal, I would lose my entire world. And it was something I fought so much on. I felt angrier. I mean, I was always angry. I remember, I guess that's the thing, I remember all this negative stuff in middle school. Like, the positives are, like, very blurred. And I think maybe if I just change that mindset. But there are things that just really, it just bothered me. I had a group of girls when I was in a guitar class. They cut my guitar strings in middle school. And that pissed me off. Like, what the hell? And I felt targeted. And I'm not the best person, so I know things. I know I deserved a lot of it. But my gosh, like, my guitar strings were cut. Nobody else was cut. And my parents bought me a guitar. I mean, I did have someone help me replace my guitar strings, but what the heck? My stuff was stolen all the time. One girl sang over my solo in choir. That made me feel like, just felt like garbage. That made me feel like garbage. I cried in the bathroom. Laughing. She also made a fake Instagram account of me. Her name is Kimberly. She was the most popular girl in school. She looked like a model. Beautiful brunette hair. Perfect tone. The perfect voice. I was terrified. At the same time, it intrigued me. I don't know. She was crowned 8th grade queen. The reason I'm talking about her is because I remember what it did to me. She found out I was rechecking things, which was like my biggest fear, that anybody caught on to my OCD. She would laugh, and she would point, and she purposely open and close and lock the door on me to get with me. And I was terrified to go to school. I was angry and embarrassed of myself because I was late to school. I was late to changing my blocks for each class because I had to check to see. There's nothing under the seat, but I had to check 3 times. And because she was also the person that stayed behind in class, she caught up on what I was doing. And made fun of me for that. I had nightmares about her. And I think that's where I tapped into my coping mechanism, the explosion of therapy, but not in the right way. I forced myself into situations with my OCD to avoid it. I remember she videotaped me, because she would always videotape herself, and we made musicallys of people. I think it's TikTok now. And she videotaped me and said,
"Look at Shirley, counting to 3. Such a baby. It must suck being stupid. What a disease."
I mean, she made a rumor about me, which terrified me.
So, Shirley got a solo. That's surprising since you can't sing. I bet our choir director feels bad for you. People like him got to care for the poor and sick. You don't have long to live.
Alright, so obviously it's not true. And now I look back, it's kind of pointless. But I remember that moment. And I was sick to death because my beginning of my OCD was the fear of death. And I thought it was true that I wasn't going to live long, because I would stay up overnight to make sure I didn't die in my sleep. That was years of that. And now OCD has progressed into different outcomes and different types of departments. And that's where, and I think that's where I'm plugging this in now. That back then I said that I was going to harm myself. Because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know. It was fear in the unknown. I couldn't take this anger, uneasiness, anxiety type mentality I had. But I couldn't do it. Because usually, when you do this self-harm, it leads to that outcome, and that's what terrified me. It's the weirdest thing that when I felt small, I think about that. And I remember that I had that fear of death. Now, it still comes and goes, but it wasn't as bad. But I just wanted to make this clear at any time, is that I don't have the feeling of harming myself. This is a past thing. This is not something that's affecting me. It comes and goes, the thought, but I'm not going to do it. Because I was that hope. And it's still hope. And I think now I'm realizing I just want to understand my past. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm beating the bush. I'm glad I never took that opportunity. And I'm not going to take that opportunity. Because I know there's something better on a different path. And I feel awful that I'm saying things like that. And now I look back, it's silly. But kids can be so cruel. And I think the whole thing, and maybe it's, why do we act like adults? Why do we act like adults? Why can't we just be kids? Yeah, we're immature, but why can't we just be kids? And I think that's probably why it messed me up, is I felt like I was 18 at 13. I mean, the stuff I did back then, oh my gosh. I was so petrified. But I look back and it wasn't as bad as it seemed. I did something really crazy in elementary school. I still can't believe I did this, but I know why I did this, actually. Because a girl, her name was Mia, and she had something going on in her life. She had something completely going on in her life that was a lot worse than what I was going through. Or that's what I thought. And I felt bad, and I'm very empathetic. And I wrote a letter about Mia, telling her positive affirmations, trying to brand her up, trying to build her up. And because she was going through something, I wrote in that letter to relate to the situation that I too had thoughts about harming myself. And I thought in my head I was being a nice friend, thinking, hey, you're not alone. And I thought maybe that could help me in the long run. But I think I scared her, and she turned into the teacher, which is the safety protocol thing to do. And I got called down to the office. And I remember my mom and my dad standing in the doorway looking directly at me, and I'm like, great! They think I'm psychotic. Great! And I remember my counselor looking at me, I'm like, oh great, this is great, because my letter got turned in, her letter didn't get turned in. And I'm like, oh, I've never put anything on paper ever again. And I remember my dad's face. I thought I thought I was gonna get taken out. That was it. I was like, that's it. My dad was he was so mad at me. Because my dad got a letter about me writing something similar to what Mia said. And he said,
you should feel ashamed of yourself.
And you know what? I did. I did feel ashamed of myself. Because why would I write something like that? But at the same time, I was also angry. Because I'm like, this is my thought. Those are my emotions. And it gets turned into the office. And I wasn't expecting that. But like I said, you look back when you're a lot older and you're like, it's safety. It's a safety protocol. But I have to remember. And you know what, to be honest, I'm glad they're saving someone's life. But when I got home, oh, my dad just let me have it. My mom was concerned. And my dad was like, he didn't want me to go receive therapy because he honestly didn't think something was wrong. Like I said, they think it was a behavioral thing. My mom suspected, no, something's just not right. It's not clicking. But I don't know. And I think I know why the outcome was that. And I don't think it was anything to be mean. Because my dad also had it. And I think that he was going through something he wasn't processing. Or he didn't want to believe that his kid had it. And I get it. I also remember, because I'm on the same note, I also remember a time in middle school. Oh, okay, this one gets me sick. I feel sick just thinking about it. I was invited in my later months of 8th grade by one of my friends to a roller skating rink. It wasn't too far from the school. Surprisingly, things was starting to get better in 8th grade. A little bit. It was still pretty tough. But I think it was because it's the last year of school. I felt a little bit more confident, but it was still really rough. I mean, like, I think everyone was just happy to go to high school. I mean, it was very memorable 8th grade, and I did have a good time, but everybody was just angry. I remember when I was with my friends, I was putting on my roller skates, and I'm very terrified of roller skating, to be honest. I just don't like being on skates. I don't like the comfortability of it, but I was like, I don't care. I'll learn how to roller skate. So I started roller skating on the rink, and I fell. I fell a lot because I'm just not that good. And I completely forgot who the heck was there. And Kimberly, and this is on the rink. This is on the rink. Was skating, laughing, and recording me. So I exited out of the rink, and I got some food at the nearby a la carte. And this is what sickened me. Because I'm used to, and I don't want to say I'm used to, but I'm used to the laugh and the teasing. But when you come up to me and you provoked me, that's not okay. And she came up with me with her boyfriend, which I don't like him. He is such a prawn. I don't know, I'm talking really bad about him. But her boyfriend started picking on me. He's a 7th grader. Like, come on, does this guy have anything else? And her boyfriend spits in my food. I felt sick, weak. I felt I was going to faint because I don't know what this is going to do. Luckily, my mom was already there. And she saw the whole thing. And she came in strong and confident, and she told them to stop. And she told me, you walk away, and she told the other two, you walk away before it goes somewhere. Oh my gosh, I was so mad. I was embarrassed, and I think that's also the fault with my parents. I felt so embarrassed, because then they were laughing already. Because, oh, your mom has to stop in. Oh my gosh. What a baby. I mean, like, I felt like I couldn't defend myself. Like, my mom stepped in. And that car ride, oh my god, I remember the car ride. I was livid and sick. And my mom said, we need to report her. We need to do this. And I was just like, no, it's fine. I will take care of it. No, it's just stop. Just get out of my life. Just stop. Okay? I didn't want to go to school the next day. And I'm just stupid. Stupid to believe lies and allow myself to get close to people that did nothing but bad choices.
Shirley, you were not stupid.
I believed everything. I was naive.
You were a kid in middle school.
But a kid that maybe could have been stronger. I couldn't stand up for myself. And I didn't realize that my parents were just being nice, considerate parents. But I took that as a weakness. And I was so scared of just everything. Literally everything. And I was desperate, which is very sad to say, but I was desperate when I was in elementary school. I guess I wasn't cool enough to have really close friends. I mean, I had close friends, but they left, and they had to change schools, and then I was like, great, I'm alone. But I liked the popular girls, and I don't know why I was so after them. I guess I needed affirmation. I don't even know. And I gave away, because we did like a toy thing on Fridays, I gave away majority of my toys so girls would be friends with me. And if I didn't give it away, they would either tease me or I had nobody. No, Dr. Basel, you're absolutely right. I'm not stupid. I shouldn't have said that. I just felt the emotions from elementary school. I used to call myself that all the time. I don't want to do that. I want to be carried in me. I want to be my own best friend. I don't want to rely on somebody. But I also want to accept help and not take that as a weakness. I don't want to be dependent. I want my independency, but I also don't want to push people away. Thank you, Dr. Basel.
You acknowledged, Shirley. I am proud of you. Remember, you are recalling a memory. Don't judge that. It is only a memory. You are present here.
Yes. That's right. Thank you, Dr. Basel. I am here. I'm here. I was resistant. Just not the healthiest way.
You are stronger than you think. Kids are kids. Kids can be very mean. A lot of childhood behavior stems from home. If other kids are around that get messed with, they learn from that.
That's something I need to remember. And thank you.
The past does not define you.
Dr. Basel, in all honesty, don't you wish there were times you could have done something just completely different?
Of course, as well as all of us. Shirley, you are doing something different. You are here. This is the difference.
Notice how I keep getting reassured. How I keep going downward with myself. Sometimes I thought I was causing more problems at my therapies. This was the time in my sessions where that doubt came in, where I feel very trapped. This is usually where I give up mentally, because the memories of the past, of girls pushing and shoving or threatening text messages, the memories would be too static to handle. Dr. Basel was a therapist that was able to reset me. The sheet that he's about to give me made me want to cuddle myself in a ball. I got to see the pain that I was causing myself with all the put-downs. It's hard. It's very hard. But you do so much for yourself. Your body doesn't deserve this type of feeling we put on ourselves. I finally understood why my coping mechanisms weren't working.
Shirley, take a breather. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6. You are present. I want to give you something that may be the secret sauce. Have you ever heard of the term ants?
No. I've only heard of it as an insect form. They cause nasty bites.
Exactly. The psychological term is similar to the insect term. Ants is an automatic negative thought infestation. Those are the thoughts that cause OCD, anxiety, and depression to spark. We do not need to believe every thought in our heart. The brain creates these thoughts out of a disorder or a fear to an experience. There are different types of thoughts like the all good or bad. For example, nothing ever works out for me. less than, I am not tall enough, saying the bad, the world is dangerous, or middle school is nothing but trouble, guilt tripping, I should have fought back more, the label, she's a horrible, the future tells, if I don't shut this door right, I may perish, mind reading, everyone hates me, the happy when I am only happy if I go to London. Last but not least is the blaming. It's your fault I am in this situation. A tip. Write down what you're feeling when you're angry, sad, or distressed. Ask yourself these 5 questions. Is it true? Is it 100% true? How do I feel when I believe this thought? How would I feel if I couldn't feel this thought? If I turn this thought around, is it super true? This is something to be practiced daily. A mindful meditation. Asking these 5 questions is about accurate and honest thinking, telling yourself the truth rather than a negative lie.
Okay. Maybe I can avoid the thought.
You don't need to avoid the thought. Identify the ant. Writing is the most essential part of the brain.
What if I still experience the thought?
If you still experience the thought, ask yourself again, is it true? If you need to repeat the 5 questions, that's okay. Acknowledging is half the battle.
Okay. I will do this. I will ask these questions and keep asking. Once I feel at peace, I may have to do this with everything, and that's okay, because I want to feel better. I appreciate it.
The support drives us.
I'm sorry for how I acted. It's just a memory. I already lived through it.